There was no thought to my character. And so especially when I went through a difficult situation, anything that I might have developed went out the window. Welcome back to Uncivilized Rebirth. Here's a place where I share what I've learned over the past 42 years about going through really difficult situations. The past two episodes, I talked about different techniques that are basically mental techniques to help you get through a really difficult situation and help you navigate that. Today I want to talk a little bit more about what is a really difficult situation, how we frame it, and how we talk through it. Now, when I'm referring to what it is, we may have a tragedy happen in our life, and we could blame it on many things. We could blame it on being out of the will of God, or living in sin, or God punishing us, or we could blame it on our own decisions, which it could be that, or it could be actually in reality a totally random event that just happened. For instance, let's say this isn't that horrible situation, but you run over a nail and you get a flat tire. Well, there might have been a gentleman on a work truck and he set a box of nails down and one nail fell out. And he hit a bump in the road, the nail fell out, and then your car drove over it. Well, that's just one of the things in life that happens because we're taking a risk of driving down the road, and life is like that. If we choose to live and get out there, then we are going to run into obstacles. We are going to run into situations that hurt. We can play it safe like a hermit, and then it's easier when you have less interactions, less things happen. But if you're not living, you're not living to the fullest. It can become bored. So things happen. So framing it, view it as this happened. My mustache, I digress. View it as this is what has happened. It's not because of some deity. It's not because all these other factors. It's just, this is what it is. And if you take out all of those other things, it becomes much more simple, like a math problem. It's like 1 + 1. This is what it is. How do I get to 2? I got to learn how to add. Well, cool. So when you take away all that stuff, it simplifies it so much. And self-blame, taking away self-blame is huge also, because we can sit there and just live in the past and blame ourselves completely. But yesterday was yesterday, tomorrow is tomorrow, today is right now. We have to choose how we move through it. The more we have that narrative of self-blame, the more that's going to get hardwired into our brain to play whenever we go through situations like this in the future. Now, another thing to think about is the way we talk. Are we complainers? Are we whiners? Are we just running around having this tragedy part of our identity, and that's all we talking about? Because I've had things happen to me by people that I was supposed to trust. And it became part of my identity. I clung on to that trauma. And anybody that would listen, I had to talk to them about it. But I had to outgrow that. I had to realize, this can't be part of my identity anymore. Otherwise, how can I help other people heal? So here's another way to think about it too. If we're going through a situation and we're complaining, we might run across somebody that's going through something 10,000 times worse than what we're going through, and we could be that person there for them to talk to. But instead, we may try to go through somebody that's in way worse situation and complain to them. Well, what does that do to their mindset? Maybe they were coming to us, we start complaining, and it crushes their mindset. Like, oh wow, everybody's going through this. Or, I don't know what to say back. I need to talk. I'm going through it. So, for me, it's I got to put myself in other people's shoes. Not how they view me, but as in what they are going through. And then that needs to help actually dictate how I talk to them. Because if I'm running around complaining and being woe is me, then these people are going to absorb that, and that's what they're going to expect of me, and it becomes part of my identity yet again. Versus, you know what? This is 1 plus 2. I'm going to get the math, and I'm going to get to 2. And I don't need to tell everybody about this math problem. This is the math problem. Once I complete this math problem, I'll be able to move on to the next math problem. 2 plus 2. It advances. So I think life is like that also. When we navigate a very difficult situation, that prepares us for another difficult situation. Not saying that that's all life is about, but we can also look at it as character development. Changing the self-talk, changing how we talk to people, changing how we handle situations. And again, for me, for many years, I failed until I started digging deep into what is character development and realizing character development is almost like a code of conduct, how I conduct myself. And before, it was just, there was no thought to my character. And so especially when I went through a difficult situation, anything that I might have developed went out the window. So if you're on the journey of self-development and developing your character, as I am, then when we go through those situations, that is the most important time to cling on to our character and cling on to those aspects that we want to embed deeply in us. And that could be, like I said, not having the negative self-talk, not blaming these external sources that men have told us could be at fault, and also how we talk to people. You don't always have to handle it stoically. You can have one person that you go and talk to, like up, but then down, like never complain down. And me saying that, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning that. But we have to cling to something in those difficult times. And if we just cling to just like magic items, that's not going to get us through. But side note, I think it's interesting, and I've been learning it. It's like, I've heard this said many, many times towards men, that nobody is coming to rescue you. And it may be for some women too, but I see many women where there's dudes that are quick to step in and rescue them because they're female. And that's nothing against the female. It's just easier to get somebody to play the rescuing prince or the knight in shining armor. Because I think every guy in their heart wants to be that. And if you ring that gong, it's easy to find one. But for men, I've discovered it's like nobody is coming for some men. Like literally nobody will show up. But we can show up for ourselves. And we can be that strongest person we know. And literally it's like we're showing up for ourselves. Don't need somebody else to show up. Is that saying we can go through life completely on our own? No. Because I'm coming to the hard realization also that's like we can't do life alone. We need help sometimes. Like we're here with other humans. We're not meant to be alone. But sometimes in situations we are meant to be alone. And that's when it's time to cling on to our character and depend on ourselves and focus on what we can develop. It's like, okay, what lesson can I learn here? Like what about my old self would flounder in this situation? And the way I want to be, how do I conduct myself in that manner? I hope this helps. Hope that made sense. It was kind of on my heart. Roadhouse, Spiritual Hard.